Good evening all, and welcome back to another Motormouth blog. Today I want to talk a little bit about why a DR650. So I guess you guys are probably thinking, if I've got so many Hondas and been a Honda man most of my life, why would I choose to buy a DR and a Suzuki DR650? So yes, that is true. It's just stemming back to when I was a little tacker. I had a Honda Z50A, and then a procession of a couple of ag bikes, and then a procession of XR Hondas. Had a Honda 100, 200, 400, and I sort of like that platform, that air-cooled single cylinder sort of platform, especially for the sort of riding that I do. I've found them to be a good bike. And then, fast forward 20 years, I found myself at the time owning a Suzuki GSXR 1100 and a Husqvarna TE450. So the TE450 was an awesome bike. Made me, as I said in the previous vlog, made me a much better rider. Awesome suspension, really good bike, really heaps of power, went well. It was a nice machine for racing. Wasn't really a good machine for commuting, but was a lot of fun. And that actually got stolen, excuse me, and at the time the insurance paid out on that bike, and I was talking to a lot of mates and stuff who suggested that if I wanted to do some outback touring and a bit more travelling, a DRZ 400 was the bike to be on. So I did some research, looked around, and found that a lot of the tour companies were using those DRZ 400s as tour bikes and rental bikes, and they are indeed a very tough machine. That never eventuated. I used the money with kids and life and paying mortgages and stuff, so never had a bike for a while. And then I sort of started looking back into it earlier this year. I had the Postie, and I had the Z50, and I had the CB750. I started getting into something that I could ride on the road to and from places, do a bit of camping, bit of all-round bike, not too bad on road, not too bad off-road, and capable of carrying my 100 kilos plus another 100 kilos of weight, which sort of narrowed it down a little bit. I wanted a newer bike, something less than 20 years old, or if I could find one less than 10 years old, and like I said, had to be able to carry me and another 100 kilos. So research found that a DRZ 250 is marginal at best in a touring mode, especially with those weights on it. They have a lot of gearbox issues for heavy loads, carrying heavy loads for extended periods of time. And a DRZ was probably what I was after. And it's sort of come about that I've got a big bike license, and like I said, I'm a big guy, and although a DRZ I'm sure would do the job, I sort of fell into the idea of a bigger bike, do it a bit less effortlessly. I started looking at a few 650s, the XR 650, which unfortunately had been discontinued by this time. Honda stopped importing them. They still make them, but they stopped importing them into Australia in 2008. So there is no new, nothing I could buy new. DR650s always had a good rap in a lot of the motorbike magazines I was buying when I had that Husqvarna, and they were the thing of choice. There is a fair aftermarket representation with bash plates and guards and aftermarket accessories and sticker kits and all the stuff you normally buy, luggage racks and all the things. DR650 is one of the ones that's catered for pretty well. I'm sure the XR650 is as well, and I know that the KLR650 probably is, but I just knew that if I got a DR, that I would be able to buy every accessory that I wanted. The DR sort of fit my old school thinking of air-cooled, go all day, single cylinder, old school technology, and do it pretty easy. And like I said, I had a big bike license and was looking at carrying my 100 kilos around all over the place. So around that time, the thing that swayed me away from a DRZ 400 at the time was Suzuki had just released the Tanami edition DR650. So that came with pretty much everything that I wanted: B&B bash plate, some decent tyres. It came with a Service 25 litre long range tank. It came with a few other bits and pieces, and I thought, well, that's it, I'm going to buy a brand new one. I'm not going to mess around with nothing second hand. I'm not going to mess around with something that someone else has already played with. I'm not going to mess around with something with 20, 30, 40, 50,000 Ks already on it, and it's going to need a top end rebuild and a valve job in the future. So I'm like, just going to go and buy a brand new. And the KLR's been discontinued, the XR650's been discontinued. DR was really the only thing on the market. They just released exactly what I was looking for, which was the Tanami edition. Unfortunately, I didn't realise that whilst I was looking, they'd also discontinued the Tanami edition after only 2 months. So I'm not sure why, whether they sold out of all the Tanami kits or whether they just decided that they weren't going to do them anymore, so they discontinued them. So at the time, the normal DR650 was $9,460. The Tanami edition was the exact same price with $1,250 worth of extras, which was, like I said, the B&B bash plate, the tyres, the Service long range tank, handguards. That was the other thing, Barkbuster handguards, and a sticker pack and a few other little bits and pieces that probably isn't really of interest to a 45-year-old man. But anyway, so walked in a Suzuki dealer and he said no more Tanamis. He actually didn't realise they were unavailable either until I actually went to put pen to paper, and he went, I'll just see how much stock's available, and there was none with the Tanami kit, only normal DR650s, and they were the same price, so they're $9,460 with no extras whatsoever. At that time, I decided that I would just have a quick squeeze around on bike sales, see what was available, and hopefully buy something like a brand new bike or a demo with the Tanami edition. And sure enough, there was 3 of them on there, and I inquired about the first one that I was interested in. It was already sold. I inquired about another one, and the guy, not sure what the story really was, but turned out to be just a waste of time. He stuffed me around, and then when I wanted to come around with money to actually start looking at buying the bike, he didn't actually own it. It was his mate's, and he was selling it on behalf of his mate because his mate owed him money, and it was just got into something that I didn't want to get involved in really. So that one got struck off the list. Next bike that caught my eye was this nice white 2018 DR650, and it had, and still does, only have 4,000 odd kilometres on it, and it already had the B&B bash plate. It already had some of the mods I was after. It already had a set of genuine bark busters. It already had, like I said the other day, the Sergeant seat, because all the reports that I looked at when I was looking at buying the DR, that the seat is unrideable. It's just a plank with vinyl over it. So that one already had that, and it was the right price. It was, just shy of $8,000 in my driveway, and already had some of the extras I wanted, and for the same money as the Tanami kit, I was able to buy the luggage rack, and a service 25 litre fuel tank to suit. So that is basically why DR650. So yeah, just decided that it was a good compromise. DR650 is a good compromise. It's not too heavy to be a big dirt bike. It's not too small to be to carry, you know, my weight. It is capable of carrying that all day, every day. I've seen reports of people peak revving them in first gear for 2 days, getting across the Simpson. There's people done 100,000 Ks on them. I just recently saw a story of a bloke who rode one from the very north of Alaska down to the very south of South America, which was 66,000 Ks. I think they said it was 40,000 miles. So 66,000 Ks, and he did that on a DR650, bone stock with a seat and a luggage rack, and still had the stock fuel tank even. So yeah, that's why not a Honda. Honda don't make what I need. I'm sure a second-hand XR probably would have fitted the bill, and I'm sure a second-hand XR probably has the aftermarket support that I need with the luggage rack and the long-range tanks. But like I said, I was after something that I didn't have to be working on, and I was actually after a brand new rig, so that the DR was really the only thing that fitted the bill. Since then, I've done some more research, and the DR, although it is a good platform, it's very, very basic, so the suspension needs a lot of work on them, which mine has already been done. The previous owner did that. They still have some issues with third gear if you abuse it, and up until about 2013 they had issues with the rear drive seal popping out, or the drive seal popping out of the where the front sprocket is, and leaking oil everywhere. Well, so my bike, being a 2018, has had that rectified. They put a retainer in there now to stop that seal popping out. So yeah, buying the new bike in the more modern one, they've sort of taken care of a lot of those issues. Suzuki's, or the DRs anyway, don't really have too many cam chain problems with the top end. Like I said, they're very robust, they're very under stressed for what they are, and very much capable of seeing me ride that thing for another 100,000 Ks. No trouble at all. They already had, and they certainly do have, B&B do a good range of stuff for them. So I already have the B&B bash plate on it, and there's a B&B luggage rack, B&B radiator, or oil cooler guard. Actually it is, they don't have a radiator. B&B oil cooler guard, and a B&B luggage top plate to go on the back rack. And you would have already seen me fit the B&B case saver for the chain, so that the chain doesn't chew into the back of the case if it ever derails. So B&B had a massive aftermarket support for that bike. B&B are a very nice Australian company. They make awesome products. I have no affiliation with B&B, but you can hear how much of their gear I bought and how much of a fan I am. That they are very much at the forefront of adventure touring or adventure bikes. They make gear for just about every bike on the market. Your KTMs, your Hondas, your DRs, your DRZs, KLX, KLRs, everything that I've looked at, they B&B make parts for them for. So, and like I said, the service made the 25 litre tank for my DR, and you know, like I said, it's not too heavy. It's about 30 kilos lighter than a KLR. It's about 20 kilos heavier than a DR6, than a XR650R, but an XR650R is also a lot more highly strung and a lot more power, a lot more dirt bike sort of related than I sort of need at this point. So so that's how I come about to own a DR. I sort of was looking originally for a DRZ 400 or even a 250. 250 got ruled out. DRZ 400 was sort of, you know, I thought, well, why lumber around on a 400 when I can have a 650, and managed to find one pretty much exactly what I was looking for. There's a mob called Vince Strang Motorcycles that do all the suspension, so Vince Strang did my suspension on my DR. He's very well known in the DR community, so he did that, so it already had the mods, so I picked it up, and now all I need to do is enjoy riding it. So thanks for listening to my second vlog, and I will catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.